Now, before we do any solution engineering or discuss the next 8 weeks or the next 10 weeks, I do want to take a pause. There is a gentleman that I invited to share an experience with you. I hope he's still with us, because it has to do with what you just discussed. Can a community be involved in preventing, or can a community be involved in assisting us in suicide prevention, in detecting when a person is heading towards a problem with drugs and addiction and all this other stuff? So is John Davies with us? Giselle, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. John, are
Hi.
you, hi.
Hey, John, I'm so
Hi.
glad you could join us. I'm not sure if you were able to pick up on the conversation so far, but at this point, I would like you to kind of provide any context you wish, at whatever level of detail, obviously protecting privacy and other concerns. Questions and concerns regarding the effect on communities and whether communities can be what questions would you have for Dr. Racimus about impact, reaction, community, suicide, and all of these diseases of despair that we're trying to figure out whether we're doing the right thing?
Well, I'm not sure I can frame it as a question, but
Then,
um,
yeah, an
I'm a
experience.
I'm a lawyer in a small community for about 30 years, and as such, outside of my actual formal clients, I have many people who come to me for as a listening ear
Hmm.
and maybe a few words of wisdom to help them track what's going on in their lives. Um, so I'm in a period of reflection now because one of those people just took his own life and his wife's life last night in this community. And this is a salt of the earth person who works very hard, was under tremendous pressure uh, politically through zoning issues and so on in the community for years. And I just have to speak from my thoughts and process at this point. This is the last person you would want to put in isolation outside of his normal support networks. He's an energetic person. He's full on. He's a bull basically. He's strong, energetic. He's a metal He was a metal recycler.
Okay.
So he's out there every day interacting with the public, and his web of support would be in the neighborhood of hundreds of people, of which I'm one. I haven't seen him since February, March. Normally, I would run into him through the normal community interactions, and we might have a conversation. And that kind of conversation wouldn't be like this, and it wouldn't be 6 feet apart shouting at each other. It would be him talking quietly and into my ear because he doesn't really want to publicize his business. So we have our styles of communication that are intimate, and there's warmth, and there's connection, and there's support. And my reflections now are really, and this reflects on me personally too, because my entire life vanished. I was proactive in what I call health and wellness, being retrained and re-educated. I'm 72 and I was getting younger by the day. So I just sent Sanjay my risk assessment, basically, of my chances of getting COVID are so fractional that I stopped being worried about it a long time ago. I'm in the best health I can be, and I maintain my health. And despite the fact public health gives me no advice on immunity, I know how to take care of myself. So I may get it, I may not, but I think the chances are low. On the other hand, I just assessed myself
Sure.
as suffering from probably likely 50% less life expectancy because I expected to live to 100 and be in vital health. Percentage loss of vitality, increase in anxiety and depression, and all these things that I've been coping with. I live with other people, so I'm not isolated and alone, but I'm cut off from my normal support network.
Yeah.
And I see it in the eyes and the faces of the people that I see. And we're now over the fear part where we actually aren't afraid to talk to each other in the parking lot outside the grocery store,
Sure.
thinking that we're going to be reported to public health. Somebody's taking pictures and sending us in. So that's kind of gone. We can even have a hug and not be afraid the police are going to come. So, but I look at this whole thing as the most traumatic experience of my life. And what I read tells me that other people observing, I'm not sure whether our doctor guest today is of this mind, but we're going to be dealing with this for probably 10 years. In terms of untreated health conditions, people that have not had their diagnosis, not had their biopsies, not had their whatevers, in terms of increased stress and trauma and the sequelae of that, that I don't know where this is going. I don't know if the activities that I've lost, they're not regainable under the social distancing rules. They were dance, yoga, theater, things that require people to be in close contact, and that I was thriving on it. And the other people I was with thrive on it. It's gone.
Yeah.
And that's not a trivial thing. And neither is the usual small town interactions where we listen to each other, we share our problems and our issues with each other. And we don't go to professionals because we have support systems.
Yeah.
But that man who took his life, you don't isolate him for 8 weeks. And we're, as soon as this started, we knew in the news there was a rise in domestic violence. You know, this is not a surprise, and I've been putting it out there, and I've actually blocked a couple of people who don't get it.
Yeah.
They're very unempathetic to this issue. And to me, I see what I call lockdown privilege, people that maybe actually had no social life before this, and now they can get together with other people and do lockdown support activities. So they're having a great time. Or other people who are now getting $2,000 a month in Canada, which is more than they were making, and they're having a party.
Yeah.
So there's that side too, but there's also this huge downside which we're now dealing with in our community, and it's very tragic. So thanks for giving me some airtime here, Sanjay.
Oh my God, John, thank you so much for joining us. You know, really, I could sense that your perspective was important for us to hear, very important, because I've been pressing science for the last 8 weeks, and the importance of understanding, you know, all these nuances of molecular biology and all this other stuff. But you know, the reason I'm so proud and happy that we have JJ, and I'm also extremely honored that you were able to join it and share with us, is there is such a human cost. There is such a human cost that is not being assessed. There is such a need for us to discuss how to do this properly and correctly for you know, each other's psychological health, which has been, as you said, and I think also JJ would agree, largely ignored through this whole thing and unassessed. So what is the real cost of what we're doing? And I'm not talking about financial costs. What is the real cost to humanity, our humanity individually and collectively, to what we are doing? And whether, you know, not whether, how far along are we on the wrong path, and how to turn around and get on a different one that is more effective. You know, I'm still a hard science guy. I'm still going to ask for, you know, the things that are going to create effectiveness, and for, you know, happiness needs to be part of that equation, right? I have largely ignored people's happiness through this, and I have, you know, I'll admit it. You know, I've been very harsh. Or you don't like wearing a mask, you think it's tyranny, too bad. But you know, there's real stress that's associated with some people having to wear a mask for as short a duration as half an hour to go in and out of a store, having, you know, anxiety disorder or other disorders, and then as long as 10 to 12 to 14 hours in a work environment. You know, so I'm getting off course here. What I'm saying is I really would like us to take the time to examine what you just described. And I'm going to hand it over to JJ for his thoughts.